The motor is so quiet. Look at this. Look at this luxury. This interior is fantastic. Look at the ashtrays, like you said. The ashtrays for the kids. Smoke them, Johnny. I can hear you pull it into drive. That creaks is louder than the car. 630 wheel. All right, so we have here one of my favorite cars of the whole year. This is Tom's, I think it's like a 87 Cadillac Broham, and it is beautiful, and it has turbo LS, basically a Dontbsme copy, and a 7875 billet. It has the turbo running into the stock exhaust, and it has an electric cutout, which you could see, or hopefully you could surmise if you don't know. It bypasses to a open downpipe versus through the tailpipes, and with the cutout shut, it doesn't really make boost at all, and then with it open, obviously it makes quite a bit of power. And the car did make 631 horsepower to the tire. Where do we have the the lay of the land here. What do we got? Here we go, boys. So here was a bunch of the dyno pulls. We're going to go over those, obviously, but it did do 631 on pump, but I turned it back down to the 570 area. Obviously, you know, we both wanted to see 600 wheel, but it was pushing it a little, and for something that, I think he said it was 4,700 pounds. It's a big car, and put everybody in it, everything else, it made more sense to turn it down. And he, at this point, is definitely interested in, you know, at some point in the future, going to a flex fuel. So that's all on the table, right? Here's a funny story with this thing. His throttle got stuck or something funny happened, and you can see his intercooler pipe here. He hit a street sign when he was road tuning with his friend. And here is the invoice for replacing it. How funny is that? So we wanted to include that. We thought it would be hilarious. He thought it would be funny. He brought it all to me, and I absolutely have to include that. Nothing like running over a street sign with a big Cadillac, right? Oh, what could be more fun than that? So what we have here is he's been driving it and everything. He did a great job. Fantastic. His air conditioning and everything works. For a Lady E, I believe it is a 6-liter, and it has Deca 80s, all the standard things. I think it has one 450 or one 525 Hellcat pump in the tank. This is like a dream car for a lot of you. When I posted it on Sloppy, everybody was losing their minds. I thought it was fantastic. The interior and everything is just incredible on these cars. So this was my exploratory hit, as you could call it. And then first roll in 6 pounds, and then second hit 500 wheel. So what's the difference here, boys? What's the difference? Let's take a look. So here is log number 1. What do we got here? Peaked out at 8 and it fell to 4.9. And then what's this one? Second hit 500. Is that just cleaning it up? 9 pounds. He had a manual boost controller, ladies and gents. So this was a peak of 9 pounds, and then it fell off to 7.6 to make 500 wheel on pump gas. No problem. What a safe tune-up. And then 10 pounds, 1011 here. It says 1011. Made 524. So here we go, right? See, it had this fall off, but that's its own thing. 10.9. The wastegate was a 44 millimeter in the crossover. And this is a ball and spring boost controller. This sometimes happens where back pressure starts to come up and boost goes down because the gate is so far away. And a lot of times like electronic on top, adding pressure on top of the gate will get rid of this kind of fall off. So this was not so bad. 11 peak falling to 9 made, what was this, 525 wheel, 524. Then what do we have? Same 554 on 13. Let's make sure that that was actually 13. You can see it's starting to level out. 13 peak, 12, so it fell 1 pound. It's definitely coming in much tighter. So 557 here was on 13 pounds. Yes, that's what all this says. And then we were able to make, I ironed it out a little bit. Let's see if the boost is the same here. This is 568. And we'll see if, is it because I cleaned some stuff up or what? No, it just held better. 13 and a half and 13. So it just held better. Yeah, we got a little bit of boost hold there that was better. And then where are we? 14 pounds. This is 14 psi. Let's move this one over. So this one hit 14 early and held 13.8. This is a very solid 14 PSI, and that made 570 wheel pretty easily. 13 degrees up top, 11 degrees down low here when the converter comes up. All in all, very happy pump gas hit right here. And that's where we left it at the end of the day. We messed around quite a bit messing with things. This was obviously way too much boost. So this is when I put dome on top of it, when it made this 598. You can see that. And then also here, so what do we want to look at? Probably 6 and 8. 6 and 8. So what you see here is we were running out of the boost controller. We had nothing left. It was turned all the way in, little ball and spring guy. And then what I did was put a tiny bit of shop air on top of it because we both wanted to see 600 wheel. And it made 631, and that was on, let's take a peep, kids, ladies and gentlemen. It made 18, and it fell to 17. So again, a 1 PSI drop. What do we got here? Closed loop 14%. We just made a quick hit here. We definitely didn't tune it on this. Not terrible. 11 degrees. Everything else was pretty happy. So yeah, this made 631 on pump. If it had water meth, I'd be a little bit happier with it. But again, he doesn't need that all the time. And this is pretty neat to see. Your average bingo curb hopper, awesome older Cadillac with air conditioning and everything. I mean, this guy Tom is living the life with this. And it's capable of 631 to the tire on pump. I wouldn't run it around like that all the time. Like I said, that's fine for drag racing. And it has a 480E, it has Terminator X-Max, drive-by-wire, all the awesome things you could and would expect from something like this. If it had aggressive gearing and everything else, that kind of power, that 570, would put this into a high 10 if it can launch well, if he can foot brake it well, if the converter and everything is matched up. So something to consider. Pretty funny to see like an old Cadillac like that going like a 1080 on a foot brake, but entirely possible, has been done, will be done again. So we'll see what Tom does with this thing. I'm sure he's just gonna hang out, have fun, and do retarded things in it. And maybe one day he'll bring it back with 2 fuel pumps and a ethanol sensor and a bigger injector. And that's something I look forward to. But again, Tom's car, Tom's thing. Okay, thanks, bye.